at the 47th Annual FHRAI Convention with our first session, In the Hot Seat, Emerging Young Turks. Please do put your hands together and welcome on stage the man who's going to do the grilling and cooking of our panelists. Moderator, Homi Aibara, partner, Mahajan Aibara Associates. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Homi Aibara. And now our panelists. Please put your hands together for Amruda Nair, Head of Asset Management, Leela Hotels Group. A warm welcome to you, Amruda. Please do also put your hands together and welcome Keshav Baljee, Managing Director, Spree Hotels. A warm welcome to Satyen Jain, Chief Executive Officer, Pride Hotels. And bringing up the panelists is Nirav Parekh, Director, Alila Diwa, Goa. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, over to Mr. Homi Aibara to take you through the session.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm told a lot of you finished at 3 o'clock in the morning, so thank you for being here. The session we are doing this morning concerns more the future than the past. And my panelists here are really a representation of the future and in different shapes and forms. So we'll get into that in more detail, but what I'd like each of you to do, if you could, Amruda, why don't you start and then move down, is just introduce yourselves and tell the audience a little bit about what you do.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amruda Nair and I represent the Leela Group. My role primarily is of asset management, which means that I act as an owner's rep with regards to the operating hotels as well as the upcoming projects. What that essentially means is that I pretty much run the MIS process, so the financial review meetings, to make sure that our operating properties meet budgets. I'm also involved in capital budgeting as well as on the project side, pre-opening. And I also play a supportive role when it comes to development. So that pretty much sums up what I do.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Keshav Baljee. I'm the Managing Director of Spree Hotels, which is sort of a startup hotel management company I founded a year and a half ago. I am responsible for the development and management of this chain of hotels, which is primarily in the 3-star space. It caters to the young and modern business traveler, and we can talk about it more, I guess, later. Thanks.
Good morning. I'm Satyen Jain, the CEO of Pride Hotels. We have 3 brands, Pride Hotel, Pride Business Hotel, and Pride Resorts, and run 12 hotels, mix of owned and managed properties, 6 owned, 6 managed. And I take care of a lot of projects to get new hotels online fast, and head the operations also. So though I have a professional management, but overlook the operations. Thanks.
Good morning. I'm Nirav Parekh. I'm Director of Seabird Resorts, the owning company of Alila Diwa, Goa. We are mainly into hotel development, and Alila Diwa Goa is the first one. My primary role is asset management and development of the hotel companies. Thank you.
So now we know where everyone comes from. And one of the observations that was going through my mind, and I hope it's not representative of the whole industry, but 3 out of 4 are second generation. Nirav, you're the star. No, yeah, third generation, sorry. Keshav, maybe I'm going to pick on you a little bit on that score. You are second generation, but you broke away. Tell me why.
Well, so I can't really say broke away. I can say I started Spree with the support and blessings of my
I know that. I was pulling your leg.
But why I started an independent management company is a good question. The reason I did that is because I wanted to, form a pure play management company that can scale up. I think there are a lot of hotels being built, which have been built or are being built by entrepreneurs across the country who come from various walks of life, who aren't hoteliers like most of us here. I think it's time where we divorced hotel management from ownership. So I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to provide professional management services to hotel owners across the country who may not build a hotel that would be a Leela or a Marriott or a Four Seasons or whatever it is, but still want professional distribution services, sales and marketing, talent recruitment, etc.
So how many flags in how many years?
1.5 years, 10 flags.
Not bad. I hope there are people in the audience who are going to follow his good footsteps and give him some competition on management contracts. Nirav is the odd man out, not being first generation, and I've known him since they started work on the Alila in Goa, and I think Nirav deserves a huge amount of credit for having built that hotel himself. So Nirav, tell us a little bit about your experiences of building a hotel. By the way, he's a biochemist or something and then ended up building a hotel.
Biomedical engineer. Thank you, sir, for the gracious introduction. It was a tough journey. Every day was a new learning, as he said. No experience in hotels. Family has no experience in hotels. Sometimes you don't know where to stop, because as one of my consultants used to tell me, it's not a hotel, it's a hotel. You just put in money. So, it was a difficult thing. Fortunately, with the guidance of a good team of people, experienced people, we managed to create a wonderful asset, which was difficult in Goa in those times. And we are the first deluxe hotel which is away from the beach, and have got some rave reviews about the operations and the way it has been set up. Definitely, and many things we have done in this hotel are quite trend-setting. I think it has been a good learning curve. I had black hair 4 years back. I think 50% are grey now, and it's all thanks to hospitality.
Coming back to grey hair, how do you guys handle, and Nirav, this does apply to you because I know there's an uncle always looking over the nephew. How do you guys handle the grey hair in your families? Actually, it doesn't apply to you so much, Keshav, anymore. No, but I'm sure it does. Amruda? And he's in the audience, so you've got to be polite.
I'm going to give away my secret now, but I think the key to success is to make them think it's their idea.
Well said. I think that's a good one.
I would second that.
You're still going to answer. Keshav, any secrets apart from
I'm not that diplomatic. I'm very... No, I think it's important to pick your battles. I think part of being the second or the third generation is that you have to speak up, and that's what I think my father should rely on me for. Right, I can't be in a meeting as a rubber stamp. So we should question every every assertion or every assumption. Otherwise, there's no point sitting in the same room. So I think I keep it feisty in the boardroom, and that's the only way I like it.
I think you have to be prepared and know what problem you want to solve. Put a great case, with all the logics, and have answers to all issues that they'll come up with. And I'm sure it can be convinced, by that.
So in short, you really have to work. We all thought you didn't work, actually.
And most importantly, you have to take responsibility for that decision. That's what they're looking at. It's your baby, if you're pushing it through.
Nirav?
I think it's summation of all what they have said. It's more about persistence and perseverance and knowing what you are talking about. That's where the convincing part is the important thing. Sometimes you get odd googly, which you have to defend, but if you believe in what you're doing and you're willing to stand up for it, I have no reasons to see why the seniors will disapprove it.
Thank you. The other thought that was crossing my mind looking at you and you guys being representative, Keshav, again, I think you're slightly an outlier, but the rest of this panel seems to be more involved in the creation of wealth rather than operations. And why aren't any of you hardcore operators?
I think just given the nature of the Indian hotel landscape, your core competency as an owner is development, because that's really what you bring to the table. And I suppose from a management perspective, at least in our case, it's professionally run. Mr. Kaul, who is our president, is a veteran in the field. And so while we do, while we are involved in the operations, the actual, implementation of it is handed over to the professionals.
Yeah, amongst the second generation, or third generation, in this case, the example I'm going to give, the only one I can think of is Vikram Oberoi, who is actually a GM. I can't think of anyone else. Can anyone else think of any in an established hotel chain? So what will you do with your children? Will you make them asset managers or will you make them GMs?
I suppose it's the, it's the evolutionary phase of where your company is at. I think my father, as a second generation, was more involved in the operations, and I think as you refine the, the process.
Vivek, you were never a GM, were you? No. You weren't, were you? Never a GM, though.
His roles are split between chief operating officer and chief construction officer. Depends on what he's got on, but I suppose it's evolutionary.
What will you do with your sons and daughters?
My son is 2 years old. He doesn't listen to me now. So when he grows up, I'm sure he's not. So yeah, I'd love for him to be in hotels, but even that is, question mark. But yes, I think the best, if you are to get into operations, the best way is to sort of start. And I think just to, take off from what Amruda said, even when I joined my Royal Orchid Hotels, my father's business, I joined as sort of, in the development capacity, because I think at that time, that is where the owners can add the most value in terms of setting up an expansion of the business. If you are looking at operations, then you really are looking at starting at a sort of a management trainee level and then really working your way up. So operations takes that amount of time. I think also the next generation is a little too impatient for that, right? In order to be a GM of a hotel, I think even I would need at least 8-10 years working in a hotel before I would be comfortable being a GM of a property.
The kind of money that is involved in the project stage, it really makes sense spending more time on that, controlling what kind of expenditure you're going to do at the project, and also shaving off some time. If you can shave off 6 months of your project, it means a lot of money, which I think operation, there's a limit to how much a person can do. And plus you have very professional people out there who can do it better than us, who have gone from down to up, and they are more equipped for it. And spending time to get costs low is like money earned from the day one. I think so. That's the reason.
Nirav, if you had your time again, would you give the Alila Diwa to a third-party operator? Or do you sometimes think that maybe I could have created my own brand?
Yes, now I think after 4 or 5 years of being in the business, but still I think, like Satyen mentioned, having a professional expertise, people who know the job, at least the chances of errors are reduced. I know in the development state how many mistakes I made, and going back those 5 years, probably I could even now cut short the cost by about 15%. And that I wouldn't like to do it in operations, and since absolutely no experience in that. So No.
You'd still go third party?
I would like to be an asset owner.
In fact, this is a discussion I have with a lot of clients very often. Unless you have a brand and a platform, I think your time is so much better employed in creating wealth rather than worrying about the knives and the forks. If you already have a platform that can handle the knives and the forks, so I'm plugging for you. So, you know, people can build hotels and give it to you to manage. Okay, you are the young Turks. You are the future of this industry, or you're representative of the future of this industry. So give us some thoughts on how you see the industry going and where it's going and what you would like to see happen going forward.
Well, I suppose, in speaking for my generation of travelers, I think the the biggest priority really is time and the luxury of time. And so I suppose in terms of both product and service delivery, it's how you're able to cater to that particular need. So I, as the, this generation's traveler, don't necessarily need to be followed by greeted by three people when I enter a property. I want to have my privacy, be able to manage most things on my device.
So I'm going to butt in. So the new brand that we're hearing about, what's your role in that? And tell us a little bit about it, because I'm confused.
Well, it's early stages, and so we're pretty much now trying to. No, what I could say is that what we're trying to create is something different and distinct from the Leela brand. So it still has what we hold in terms of the essence of the brand, but don't necessarily but it will be very different in terms of product delivery.
Is it upscale or mid-scale?
Upscale, still upscale.
So what, 36 square meter room and stuff like that?
Yes.
And you're actively looking for management contracts?
Yes, that's right. Well, that will, to go back to your earlier question, I suppose, as owner-operators now, we're transitioning into being a management company. And so, I suppose you've seen that, cycle, continue. So
everyone wants to follow the asset-light model. Mr. Asset-Light. How's it going? How's it going to go in the future?
I think actually, if you look at globally, a lot of companies are, a combination of, of a certain marquee assets which sort of mark your flag. I would love to have a Leela Bombay and as a spree, and then sort of use that to get 200 management contracts around that, which is also what Intercontinental has done abroad and with their London properties and things like that.
I would say it's more credible that he's able to do it without having invested in a flagship. That's I mean, I think that's just goes to show that you've got the the concept down to a T.
You're right, folks.
No, I appreciate it. Very, 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 very kind of you. No, I think the value proposition that we bring is that we try to cut costs in this tough market. And if you have a platform, you can sort of cut your distribution costs, your sales and marketing costs, and that also helps you raise revenues. But coming back to your question about where the industry is going, I totally agree with Amruda here that I think I think the industry is going to go where the modern day traveler goes, and the new travelers' interests and likes and dislikes will determine what our hotels will look like and how we should operate them in the future. And I think there are some signs, and I think a large part of the industry is not, catering to that yet.
Give us examples.
I'll give you an example. My pet peeve is, and in 2004 or something, I said, we should have free Wi-Fi. I think a large part of the old generation just doesn't get it. There are a lot of hotels still don't have Wi-Fi, and a lot of hotels still charge, you pay 15,000 rupees for a room, and then they nickel and dime you for 1,500 rupees for free Wi-Fi. When I travel abroad, I will never stay in a hotel that charges me for Wi-Fi. Because I believe if hot water is free, so should Wi-Fi. If the hot water doesn't work in the morning, I will not have a bad day. But if you don't have Wi-Fi for 10 minutes, believe me, I'll check out so fast. That's just me, but I know a lot of people who are just like me. I will be willing to bet almost all 4 of us here will probably prefer Wi-Fi over hot water. I don't know. But
Nirav, is your Wi-Fi free?
It is free.
The Leela doesn't work free.
No, it doesn't.
Because someone else installed the equipment.
Well, no,
And you have to
actually
do a revenue share.
Also, but in Gurgaon, for example, we have built our own, so it's not necessarily the case. But we've also studied this, and in the luxury set, if you look at the Four Seasons, the Ritz-Carlton, no one else does free Wi-Fi either. So, you know, even the other...
What would you like to do?
Well, I think we could do a bit of both, where you'd give, I think in a property like Bangalore, where the requirements, you know, in terms of capacity and speed are far greater than what you could possibly offer, you can do a split. And you know, give free Wi-Fi for a certain amount, and then if you need, you know, depends on usage. So make it accessible.
But not for downloading movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes when you give it free, it gets abused, and the actual user doesn't get to use it, you know, because everybody is downloading.
No, but is there a way of saying you can have so many megabytes and no more?
Yeah.
there is. It's very easy. And I think it should be done. I mean, I'm using this platform to plug it because I travel around India a lot, and you know, I think free Wi-Fi is a necessity
But
today.
the other thing is that, you know, the fact of the matter is that every